So we've been talking about the Nintendo Switch OLED a lot lately, and for good reason. This thing is amazing. The colors, fantastic. The blacks, way blacker. That OLED screen just makes everything pop. But there are a few specific games that really take advantage of the OLED screen, and that is what we're gonna talk about today. But before we start this video, I have somebody here who's gonna help me kind of go through this list. Help me get these best looking games on the Switch OLED out to you guys. My dude, JD from Caffeine and Consoles. Take it away, bro.
Yo, my name's JD and I'm over with Caffeine and Consoles, a channel dedicated to the community and that feeling that Nintendo used to give you. Yeah, we're a nostalgia bomb. We're addicted to nostalgia. We love old school Nintendo stuff and the new school twist. So naturally, when Chris reached out to me and said, hey, can you share with my community your 5 top picks for the Nintendo Switch OLED? I said, oh, yeah, it's gonna be tough to pick 5, but I think I can do it. He goes, hey, let me help you out. Not 5 of your favorite games to play, but 5 of the most beautiful games. And I said, okay, I can lock that in. I can definitely lock that in. And we're going to start with one of the picks right out the top, and that's going to be the game Hades. It is a visual masterpiece. I already loved it when I played it on the Nintendo Switch, Fat Switch, Standard Switch, whatever you want to call it. I loved that game. I thought it played well. The story was compelling. It kept me engaged, but the colors are what drew me in. The art style is what drew me in. The gameplay kept me there, but I was blown away by the visuals. And I tell you, on the OLED, it's a completely different game. I mean, this is like playing art. It is so gorgeous, so fun, and to beat, it is actually not a full-priced game. You're talking like $30-ish, and it's often on sale. It is just chef's kiss. And I know you don't have to say chef's kiss, but chef's kiss anyway.
We're gonna start off with the no-brainers. And, you know, maybe they're not no-brainers to everybody, but if you've played Nintendo Switch games before, if you've played on the system, you know, the old one or the Lite, you're gonna probably know these first few are really gonna look good. The first one, obviously, we have to start with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is the game I fired up as soon as I got my Switch OLED. I had another one with me that day that I was really looking forward to playing, which we will get to later in this list, but that's the one I went to first, because I knew this was not only one of the best looking games already on the Switch, but everything with the colors, just the frame, everything about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is perfect. It is a great looking game on the original Switch. Rainbow Road and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is definitely the place you can go to really see what the OLED can do. The skies are completely black. The road is literally a rainbow. That's definitely going to be your best representation of what this thing can actually do. As I said earlier, with the OLED screen, the blacks are completely black because the pixels are turned off. That's kind of the difference between the old screen and the new screen. You can get those completely crisp black blacks, and they do look very good. And obviously, with the OLED technology, everything's brighter. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe looks just fantastic on the OLED.
On to number 2, and as I said before, I am in love with everything Nintendo has done. I've been a Nintendo fan. I am, I guess, what you would call a fan man. Not a fanboy, but a fan man. Yeah, boys don't have beards like these. And as a fan man, I am so obsessed with the Zelda franchise. So when they re-released Link's Awakening, the first ever Zelda game that I played, I had to swoop it up. So originally when it was re-released and the OLED wasn't out now, but I have since replayed it on the OLED, and holy moly, let me tell you, the way that they did the new art style on there is gorgeous, and the new animation is so fun and cute and wonderful. And when you're going through the different areas, it is just a visual dream. It like tickles all my fancies. Back in the day, I was blown away by the gameplay, and now seeing it the way I see it, I'm even more blown away because it looks so pretty. And as you're going through the game, the different colors, the different animations and all that stuff, it gives you a kick in the gut with nostalgia, and not to mention, it really pleases the eyes. The OLED just pops. Now, I've played it docked and handheld, and I much prefer it handheld because of that exact feel and the fact that it throws me back into the early 90s when I was playing it on a Game Boy. Ugh, what a feeling. What a feeling.
All right, my next one is the game that I picked up the day I picked up my OLED Switch, and that is Metroid Dread. This is one of the games that they marketed the OLED Switch with. When we got the first trailer showing us what the OLED Switch was going to be, Metroid Dread was one of the things they had up on screen a lot. In this game, it's probably one of the best looking games on Switch, even if you're not playing on the OLED. It's got so much variety in the levels anyway, and so many different things, and there are certain points when you are completely in pitch black, except for the little light that Samus is giving off. It's crazy looking at something like that on this OLED screen because there are slight bezels on the OLED. They are slight, but when the whole screen goes black except for the little thing that, you know, might have that little bit of color or light, the screen just disappears into the bezels. You can't tell where it starts and where it ends. Metroid Dread, not only is it an amazing game, it looks absolutely fantastic on the OLED.
On to number 3, we're dealing with a game that maybe some of you have heard of and maybe some of you haven't. It's actually called Splunky. Now, the first time I was introduced to this, my buddy was playing it on the PC, and I was like, this is kind of a cutesy looking game, basically just a dungeon crawler. And as someone who likes to try new things and indie titles often blow me away, I got it when I got my Nintendo Switch OLED around the same time. And playing through that, I just had a blast, and it looks so rad because the different things, you're dungeon crawling and you have to pick up gems and you have to watch out for different things, and as you're playing it in handheld mode with a bigger screen and the more clarity, you're able to really get immersed in this game. And it's a 2D scroller and it sucks you in, your heart's racing because the gameplay is actually quite difficult, and it is just a blast. And with the added audio that you get from the new speakers in the Switch, it is actually really nice because that game has some fun audio and some fun music to listen to. So not only does it look great, but the sound and the audio really kicks it into overdrive, and it's a blast, and also often on sale, so you can pick that bad boy up. I tell you though, it's a weird one. It's a real weird one.
All right, my next one is actually 2, and it's Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and Will of the Wisps. Now, Ori and the Blind Forest came out a while ago on the Switch. It's actually an older game. It's from Microsoft. They did end up bringing the sequel to the Switch as well. They both look fantastic, but I will say that Will of the Wisps looks like it has absolutely no business even running the way it does on the Nintendo Switch. This game runs fantastically. It looks amazing. And if you've played either of these games and know what you're getting into, they are Metroidvania style games, kind of like Metroid Dread. Same style of game, but a completely different atmosphere, completely different look. Like Metroid Dread, there are a lot of dark places, but there's also a lot of different colors and stuff going on in these darker places. There are brighter areas too, but both of these games just really shine on the OLED. Again, we're talking about color. This game's got a lot of it. The OLED brings it out. I believe now you can get these games in a double pack physically and on the eShop. So I would say if you're gonna get one, you might as well get both. They both look fantastic on the OLED.
Now on to the next pick, which is gonna be Super Mario Odyssey. Now this was a title that came out close to launch date. It was very early on in the life cycle of the Nintendo Switch, but replaying it again on the OLED just is amazing. I tell you, the OLED brings to life games that you already played through, and it kind of reskins it almost. You feel like you're playing an upgraded, remastered version of the game, even though it's just better colors. The depth of the colors are really what stand out to me, and when I'm playing a game like Super Mario Odyssey, where you're transforming into different things, and it's really obscure, and you're doing all these different types of combat moves, it's just a completely different way to play a Mario game. It's really exciting, not to mention when you go into 2D mode or do any of those types of things, playing that handheld with a display that actually does the Switch justice, it's just a great feeling, and I love the way it looks. It just looks so crisp.
All right, my next one is Astral Chain. You guys probably know if you've seen any of my videos about my favorite games on the Switch, which I will link at the end of this video. I have a few of those. I have the best of 2021 and the best ever. I think I have 2 volumes of that. Maybe I'll do those. Something's gonna be linked at the end of this video for you to watch. Don't worry about that. But I always like to mention Astral Chain in those videos. Now, I know this isn't a video about the game itself, and I've been talking a little bit about, you know, the gameplay of some of these games, but this is one. Not only does it look fantastic, it looks so good. It's not anything super crazy as far as colors, but they just do what they do in this game really well. It is like a futuristic, cyberpunky kind of vibe. So you do have a lot of neon signs when you're in the city. And there's another point in the game where you go into like another dimension, which looks really cool. Really awesome colors. Again, not really what we're talking about in this video, but it's a great game. I try to talk about this game anytime I can because I feel like it doesn't get nearly as much credit as it probably should. I really hope they put out a sequel to it. I'd love to see another game like this. I actually thought we were getting that when we saw the Bayonetta 3 trailer. I know I wasn't the only one fooled there with that dog, but yeah. Astral Chain, definitely check that one out if you're looking for something that looks really, really good on the OLED.
Now, to round it out with my 5th pick, I just have to go back to Zelda. I really do. And I know a lot of you thinking Breath of the Wild is going to be the pick, but that one just kind of stands a cut above the rest. It's just a great game to play no matter what, kind of like when someone asks you what your favorite movie is, and you want to say Empire Strikes Back because that's the correct answer, but everyone knows that Empire Strikes Back is the greatest movie of all time, so you don't really have to say it. So Breath of the Wild is just kind of a gimme. But the Zelda game that actually captivated me visually was Skyward Sword. Now, admittedly, my community knows I didn't really love the gameplay aspect of it. I didn't like the controls, but I cannot deny that the game looked fantastic. And as somewhat cult classic and the beginning of the franchise, if you follow it lore-wise, it is a must-play for anyone who's a Zelda fan. And if you missed it because you didn't play it on the Wii, you are in luck because you are going to enjoy it even more because they added controls that were outside of the motion controls, which to me felt a little gimmicky, but they also upgraded the textures and it is locked at a higher frame rate. It just feels right. And again, with the OLED, the depth of color, the brightness, the immersion that you get with a bigger screen in that handheld form factor, you have yourself a game that actually is much better than it was back when it first launched on Wii, which is really exciting because, again, I didn't love this game originally with the controls, but when I play it in handheld mode, it is so much more enjoyable. In fact, I actually got further on it playing it handheld than I did docking it and using it with a TV. Yeah, I didn't think that was the case. I kind of gave up on the game, but I started playing it again handheld. It turns out it saved it for me. So those are my picks, and we have just a little saying. We like to finish out every single conversation over at Caffeine and Consoles, so I might as well do it here. Happy gaming.
All right, my last one is Monster Hunter Rise. As we know, Monster Hunter Rise is a Switch exclusive. Well, you can get it on PC now, but originally it was a Switch exclusive. It was made with the Switch in mind. It runs really well on the Switch. They do some stuff in the background where they drop the frame rate of certain assets on screen in the background to make it run and look the way it does, but this game is probably one of the best looking games on Switch. And again, there's nothing really super crazy with this one with color. It does obviously make everything look a lot better, but this being probably one of the best looking games on Switch, the OLED just makes it that much better. If you're into the Monster Hunter type games at all, and you just got a Switch, you got an OLED, you're gonna love Monster Hunter Rise. This game really is, like I said, one of the better looking games on the Switch. One of my favorite games. Definitely pick this one up if you're looking for, you know, again, a good looking game to play on your new OLED Switch. I wanna do a few honorable mentions because I know JD sent me his list. I already know what his is, and this isn't on it. Neither of these are, but we both kind of talked about them, and I want to make sure I give them a little bit of love even though they didn't quite make the list. Luigi's Mansion 3, absolutely fantastic looking game. It is very, very good looking. This one, probably one that could have been on the list very easily. It looks amazing. I would definitely check that one out. And we both kind of talked about Breath of the Wild, but I feel like everybody already knows. Breath of the Wild looks good. It's one of the better looking games on the Switch. It's got a very distinct color palette, not overly bright. It is a little bit undersaturated, but it does look really, really good on the OLED. So that's the list, guys. I want to thank JD for coming over and helping us out with this one. Make sure you guys go over to his channel, Caffeine and Consoles. I will have it linked right here, but that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Here's a list of more games you probably want to play on your Nintendo Switch. Please leave a like. Make sure you are subscribed. We'll see you in the next one.